You're watching Force 13's live streaming service.
This is Force 13 Live. We're still tracking for Cyclone Batsirai right now. My name is Walter Yun because I'm filling in because Nathan is on vacation and Xavier is at school. This storm is maintaining its intensity right now as it heads west towards the island of Mauritius and Reunion. This system is expected to hit the island of Madagascar in the next few days. My name is Walter Yun, as stated, and we're here in this hour with Kenneth. Good evening to you. We're both in
Hello,
so...
here. Yes.
Yeah. And apologies for the technical difficulties. This is my first time live streaming, so yeah, I'm a bit nervous. Kenneth, what do you think about this storm?
Okay, so let's start. So, it's currently redeveloping as she relieved over the past few hours. You can now see the eye. Well, apparently not cleared, but it's here. It's been a bit more apparent in recent frames, unlike in the in the daytime earlier. It's looking pretty bad because particularly last night and this morning is looking pretty bad because of the wind shear tearing the mid-level core, but now it's rebuilt. As you can see, the convection in the northern side roping up shear, making the CDO coming back. And although you still see the wind shear coming from the east, but it is better, such that the core's not coming back, the eye is slightly not clearing, but it will still develop steadily because shit is still not very stable yet. It's still gonna fluctuate and may interrupt it again. This is the current attempt number 5 of Batsirai opening its eye, and if tomorrow shit increases again, it will have its attempt number 6. But that one will probably be the last one, as shear will just drop for good after tomorrow, which favor rapid intensification, such that it is totally not a good thing at all. It is expected to make landfall at a high in Cat 3, low in Cat 4, 1 minute sustain, and at least, and strike central Madagascar at such strong intensity. That's not gonna be good. Yeah.
So you think that it will intensify once shear decreases, right?
Yes, after tomorrow, especially.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so nervous I didn't really talk about the warnings just yet. So I'll clarify. Now, Class 3 warnings is now in effect for the entire island of Mauritius right now. Currently, they think that what Class 3 warnings means that they have 6 hours of daylight before the occurrence of gusts at around 120 kilometers per hour, which is about hurricane force winds. Am I correct? Something like that. And in Reunion, the yellow pre-cyclone alert is in effect as well, which means that in 1 to 3 days, a cyclone will
impact the island as well. And especially if we take a look at the warnings regarding Madagascar, they have also issued some warnings about it, and they have said that the wind advisory is expected. Wind advisory is hoisted for the entire eastern seaboard of the island of Madagascar. So there are so many there are quite many warnings now in effect for the storm. We'll be live for an hour. You can also send a message through our YouTube chat. Ping us and type the message Force 13 on text. It will light up for us. Kenneth, any more things do you want to
Yes.
talk about?
I'll say we'll just look at the synoptics right now. I didn't prepare too much this time because I'm not having the best equipment right now. So here is the latest upper level wind map. You can see those blue bars is those in the very high levels of 100 to 150 millibars, the highest layer. The high layer shear is, well, it decreased it for quite a bit. Right now, just only like just 10 knots of high level shear. But before, it was just like even higher, like half day or day ago. It's like, yeah, like this map, more 2030 knot bar east of the system, which suggests around 20 to 25 knot upper level shear, which is not good for the system to clear its eye. Not to mention there are also some mid-level shear and a bit earlier, which just make this curve apparently lopsided. Just like that, you can see the streamline not, yes, it's not really aligned. So, like the last map pass, which I would like to point out, this just this early morning, the map only detect winds of 65 knot, which suggests that it only be somewhere in just in the mid-range category 1. But now it has improved it substantially. In satellite imagery, convection still rotating, cloud top still cooling down, which suggests intensification. Right now, it's now a Category 2 cyclone Saffir-Simpson scale, which, yeah, it's pretty much a pretty good estimate right now that it intensified back.
Right. There are some questions. What is Tropical Storm 09 and where is it now? I think he's talking about 9P, if I remember it.
So, yes, 9 Ps are designated yesterday by the JCWC. It did had roughly closed center last night, which like 24 hours ago almost, like yesterday. You can see a parent convection blob. The center is roughly in here. But as it moves, you can see the trove, the entire convergence zone, which it moved along it, which means this direction. But right now, it's just being tear apart by wind shear, and you can see this is 9P, which the center will roughly be somewhere here, which you can see is completely being sheared off, and pretty messy convection, which the center, although as SCAT just missed, suggests the center may not be closed anymore. It may be elongated again. Also based on the visible, this is the shortwave IR, which suggests the center is very loose, very loosely circular, which now I'll say 9p is disintegrating.
Oh, disintegrating.
Yes.
And there are some more questions. Many people are asking, will it hit Mauritius directly? If we follow the cone on Mateo France, they think that the cone is the yellow part. The yellow part is that the center may pass the area, and you can see that the islands of Mauritius and Reunion are not inside the cone. So that probably sums up your question. But then, of course, there may be some wind gusts or tropical storm force winds that may be affecting both of the islands if this storm went a little bit more south or even made landfall on the island, which is still very unlikely, but it is not possible. But it is not impossible to do so.
Very unlikely, because it just now moving west-southwest. I can show you some steering, which suggests that it's unlikely. Because, yeah, you can see the ridging is pretty strong still. I'll show some more mid-level stuff, which is better. Not this. Let me see. The steering wind shows generally it's still pushing to the southwestward, but southwestward and then westward is currently moving west-southwest, and it will continue its direction. Pretty much models have a pretty good consensus on that.
We can also take a look at the models, right?
Yeah, we can look. We can check a bit for the current model consensus as well. Which, yeah, in the next 3 days, it has a good consensus that the sensor will not even touch Mauritius and Reunion. It will continue move. It's expected to continue move west-southwest. Tropical storm force winds and storm force gusts is possible. Showers, yes. It will bring showers. Well, Mauritius is experiencing showers right now, but more worse conditions, very unlikely. Though the one that we should concern very much about the possible catastrophic impact will be Madagascar.
Yes, indeed. We're now also joined by Nathan. Hello. Oh, your voice is quite choppy.
I did wonder whether we might have some trouble with that.
So what do you think about this storm?
Yes, well, this is awfully difficult for me because I've just been past a drink and I'm sitting in a hot tub in 5-degree weather outside. But I am still looking at the storm. Obviously, I'm away for the week and our team are filling in as well as they can, and I'm sure they are doing. But, well, the erraticness of this storm continues, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really tried to
don't know
intensify.
exactly. Yeah, it's been trying all the time. It's been failing many times. Will it finally get there? That remains to be seen. Obviously, the main threat right now is for the island of Mauritius. It's fast closest to in the next few hours, and well, possibly longer than that. Its movement can't be very fast right now, can it? What's its movement speed?
The current movement speed. Let me see.
I think it's around 19 kilometers per hour, as per the latest advisory from Meteo France.
Well, it's not
Yeah,
actually that slow then.
I don't
yeah,
know.
moderate speed.
We're also joined by Ethan. Good morning to you.
Hello, just joining in just for, I guess, a bit from central Indiana under a winter storm warning right now, but the storm poses a significant threat to Madagascar, and I think what's its current intensity right now? 90 knots? 1 minute sustained?
Yep.
Yeah.
105 miles per hour and a pressure of 963 millibars.
I will note that I don't know if this has been covered, but the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is indeed forecasting really in the next 12 hours for tropical storm conditions to begin on the island of Mauritius, and then shortly after they are forecasting tropical storm conditions to also begin on Reunion. So certainly this is going to be the onset of tropical storm force winds is coming. Time is running out to prepare on those two islands, and we'll probably start to see impacts from tropical storm force winds in Madagascar itself, probably in around 3 days. So there is still time in Madagascar, but you should be waiting to prepare for that. The time is now to prepare.
Yes, you should be preparing in Madagascar because the models have been having a general consensus of this hitting the island right now. So if you don't really take precautions now, there isn't much time when this storm really intensifies and then hits right around your corner. We've
Yes,
also
it is.
okay, go on.
It is likely that it will bring very torrential rainfall. Pretty much at least well, the winds will probably the gusts. I'll say probably exceeding 250 kilos. The gust, which is very destructive. To pretty much it is able to tear down structure many structures, and if it's needed, evacuate soon. Yeah, just listen to the warnings and the what officials tell you to like prepare, evacuate, just do it. It is a very dangerous situation, especially when time approaches to next weekend, to this weekend, which is the 5th, the 5th of Saturday. The worst condition will arrive.
Yeah, so it's like 4 days time, and 4 days is not very long, so you should be preparing if you're around the islands. More questions. Is there a chance that the storm may explode in intensity again? You got any answers for us, Kenneth?
I
Yes.
mean,
Okay.
it's possible. It's possible, but I haven't really looked over like all like the in-depth data because I've been so focused on this U.S. winter storm. But
Mhm.
I know that Kenneth, you might have more on this, but personally, I would say it's possible, but not likely.
Right now, in short term, it's not likely. Yes. Share probably will still fluctuate. Until tomorrow, which is which the consensus agree that it will decrease. Which it will lead to more intensification. Which at that moment that may be called something rapid. To reach like cat intensity like high cat 3, more possible a cat 4 intensity, and then slam the east coast of Madagascar. So I'll say the chance is more likely after tomorrow, but it is not that likely in short order unless it really now pulls the trigger. But the shear is still not entirely good to Batsirai's development right now, as I see.
The fun fact, Kenneth, the wind shear right now, at least according to what I'm seeing, is actually the lowest that it's been during the storm's entire life. But 24 hours from now, that's going to rise back up to what it was whenever it was back down to a tropical storm. So, I mean, certainly something's possible. I mean, it might undergo some weakening, but GWC do forecast it to intensify up to 110 knots. But it's got 18 hours or so before it hits Madagascar, maybe even up to a day even, of wind shear below 10 knots, is at least what the models are indicating. So maybe it has some time to explosively intensify. We'll just have to wait and see on what actually happens. But my guess is this is probably going to be a 110 knot peak, probably in agreement with what the Joint Typhoon Warning Center has right now.
You know, this storm has already been such a pain that we've been forecasting, like it's been intensifying and weakening and then intensify again and then maintains its intensity for like 2 or 3 days or so right now. So there isn't much thing that we can forecast and or maybe confirm right now. One thing that is confirmed is that it will hit Madagascar, but in what intensity we surely don't know. So so if you got more questions, please ask us. Type your message with Force 13 or in text. It will light up for us, and we will hopefully answer your questions. There's one. Please don't spam the chat. Will this storm become a Cat 4?
Possible.
Possible, but very not
Very possible.
likely. I think personally.
Wow.
I'd give it a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, because if you're able to forecast 110, well, while the low end Cat 4 is 115, that's just only 5 knot difference, which and a bit of more, and it is a category 4. And the models generally have lower winds than pressure. I mean, the wind pressure relationship is, well, you trust more pressure than wind. If like GFS, HWF currently having like something like roughly 940, you want something that means something that is category 4. I'll say more likely of 50-50. I'll say something 60 to 70. I'll say
Okay.
it's more likely.
I'm almost positive that that if there was such a thing as JTWC, they do forecast in I'm just reading their forecast now. 3 days from what their current position is, they do forecast it to be just below Cat 4. So I'm sure if we had another 12-hour point after that, maybe they would put 115 knots on there. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know, but that is certainly something that is possible. Will we receive Class 4 warnings in Mauritius? I don't think we will be, guys. Luckily.
What's the
think-
threshold
think-
of issuing Class 4 warnings? Because I don't know. I don't really know about Mauritius warnings.
I don't know, but I think 3 is as high as it's going to get. The storm, the core of it is going to pass safely towards the north. But just because the core passes to the north doesn't mean that you're not going to be out of this thing. You're still going to get tropical storm force winds, along with heavy rainfall and gusty waves. So that is certainly possible on the island.
Right.
Okay, so I found that class 4 warnings will be issued when gusts of 120, that means hurricane force gusts, have been recorded in some place and are expected to continue. So hurricane force gusts is unlikely. So
Yeah. Mauritius and La Réunion are only going to get into the tropical storm force winds. I mean, the entire islands are going to get into the tropical storm force winds, but they're not going to really get anywhere close to the core of the storm. So you're not really going to get hurricane force wind gusts from this. So probably Class 3 is going to be the tops for Mauritius. We're also now joined by the stream by Xbox.
Yes.
I think you called Nick. How are you, Xbox? Or however you go to be called by?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I was just providing some imagery, and yes, of course, this storm has been intensifying quite significantly over the past few hours. This is the fifth attempt, I think, was it? It's been having quite an erratic track, but always been going up and down and everything. It's been quite rough. Now we're seeing a situation where it could potentially be a much bigger threat to Madagascar than we actually had it a week ago or something, as far as I know.
Yeah, the threat is
just-
certainly increasing.
There are
Just
more
looking at the
questions.
imagery with the
We've gotten a very interesting question here. Can Batsirai become a Category 5 before the landfall in Madagascar? If it gets its act together, which I don't think it will, it might, but
yeah.
I'd give this a less than 1% chance at Category 5.
I've got another question. Is there a chance for the storm to cross the Mozambique channel? Now, that's a very interesting question. I just wanted to show you the GFS model.
The storm actually crossing the Mozambique Channel, somewhere on it'll cross some country on the western side. We don't exactly know where, but it is actually quite likely that the storm will re-intensify in the Mozambique Channel. Up to what intensity we can't really say.
Yes, if we
maybe of hurricane force, but that is quite possible.
if we take a
Yeah,
look at the GFS model, which I'm showing right now, but you can't see. After Batsirai moves over the Madagascar islands, and then it will sort of get itself back together, re-intensify once again, and then strike around. I don't know where that is, but it will strike Africa as a sort of Category 1, high-end Category 1, Category 2 system. So
I think we had
yeah,
someone
if-
show that it was going to make landfall as a Category 2 in Maputo. I think Mozambique, was it?
I would like to note that this re-intensification, and after re-intensification trend in the Mozambique Channel, expected like by GFS, is explicitly stated in JTWC advisory discussion. Said that this re-intensification trend is likely, even though it is currently outside JWC 5-day forecast period.
all right.
Any other questions to answer that we currently have?
As far as I know, right now there's none. Some people are asking the storm surge values. Do we have some information on that?
I'm not sure if Meteo France actually includes any sort of details on that. I could take a look. I believe that would just be for La Réunion, and I would have to go onto the meteorological service website of Mauritius to get the values for that. If they do include it, of course.
I don't know if they do.
Yeah, storm surge warning bulletin, huh? There's nothing.
So we
Not
cannot
Meteo
ask.
France.
We cannot answer your question just yet because there are some of the, in this part of the world, we don't have much things laying in our
Not as much data as
Yeah, not as much as data as other basins. Pretty much as the bio is, well, among all active tropical basins, it is one of the least information, especially open sea. Insufficient direct observation, and the dynamics used for models is less reliable, or say the uncertainty is higher, even for current intensity and forecast accuracy. It is not that as accurate as what you say, like in West Pacific, in North Atlantic. No, not that accurate, but still, well, they're used as a guidelines. It is okay. But as that, I have to be very, it has to be very accurate. Don't expect that.
Well, as far as I know, I've been looking on the Solentay Mateo France website. I have not been seeing anything or any sort of information that would state anything with a storm surge. Well, I guess yeah, we cannot really answer any of those questions that are currently being asked, or at least that one.
Well, I can just briefly talk a bit, even without official information. Like if you're talking about Mauritius, La Reunion, there will be not pretty much a very minimal storm surge, like at most something like a ruler, the length of a ruler. Uh, not so much. The main hindering is the the hinder danger. It will be the swells and the showers. Yeah, the gusty winds and the swells. If you're talking about those like not at the core but still experiencing tropical storm force wind, that will be something you you should be aware of. Let's show it. Yeah, like that. But if you're talking about something like if you're talking about Madagascar, if you're talking if we are forecasting something like 940s at landfall, high in Cat 3, low in Cat 4. From what I'll say, something like 4 to at least 4 meters. Pretty much, it is a conservative estimate. Pretty much the base will be 4 meter. The estimate will start from 4 meter, even or more, which is very serious. Well, not to mention those rainfall, which several hundred meters also pretty much will be the case.
Apparently, we got some information on storm surge in a latest
Yes,
statement.
officials have it.
A very degraded sea state with waves of more than 5 meters in average height and an abnormal rise of some tens of centimeters of the sea level are expected on the exposed coast. These are describing the situation that may happen in the islands of Mauritius and Reunion. So, 5 meters around.
That's the waves and swells, and the general increase is some centimeters. Okay.
I think it's around 15 tens of centimeters. So,
Yeah, tens of centimeters. That means a ruler length. Yeah.
so not much, but it may still cause a little bit of flooding concerns happening on those islands. Let's see if we got some more questions. What are the rainfall estimates? I think, yeah, there is stated on the bulletin as well. The cumulated rainfall can locally exceed 100 millimeters in 24 hours on Mauritius and the coastal areas of Reunion. Much more important, accumulations are expected on the relief of Reunion. Around 600 millimeters of rain is possible to be dumped on those islands. So, although the winds are not picking up for those islands, rainfall will definitely be an issue for them. Yes.
We're awaiting possible new information coming in as we can see behind the scenes.
Yep.
Meanwhile, yes, rainfall can still be a big issue in between those islands as well as are. Sorry.
Okay, the breaking news has come out. Sorry for interruption.
Sorry.
La Reunion will upgrade the cyclone pre-alert to an orange alert by Wednesday. The February 2nd at 6 a.m. La Reunion time, or about in 7 to 8 hours.
That's very interesting and expected actually, because this storm is still closing into these islands, and warnings will just go up in its rankings. So the another question is that at what time will be nearest to Mauritius? I'd say about tomorrow night to around Thursday morning, or maybe even faster. Do we have some exact?
Based on what I see models, after 24 hours. Roughly after 24 hours, which means tomorrow night. Tomorrow earlier night. Yeah. Earlier night closest to Mauritius, and then based on models it will be like roughly like Thursday afternoon. It will be closer to Reunion. I repeat, tomorrow earlier night, closer to Mauritius, and then closest to La Réunion on Thursday afternoon.
Right.
I have more questions. What is the worst case scenario of this storm?
Well, we certainly don't hope it. But if things are worse, it'll be the things are going right now, and then it rapidly intensify at midnight, somewhat when she just dropped off a cliff. But it very unlikely you're gonna be a bit of a situation that it just rapidly intensify replacement 1 and then re-intensify back to category 5, and then as a pretty big storm and then strike Madagascar. No, that would be the worst case scenario, but it's extremely unlikely. Well, I'll say is virtually uncertain. Virtually not gonna happen. Virtually certain that it's not gonna happen.
I wonder what the CHP6 will do when
Oh no!
No.
examines
Don't talk about the
Batsirai.
CHP6 around
You
DP.
know.
We don't go to hypothetical. We don't go to what might happen yet.
I mean, if after the storm passes and the real life impact is gone, we may take a look at CHP6 if that's possible. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
we can.
But I don't know if they have been examining like storms outside of the Atlantic basin. So more questions. Will there be any intensification after passing Madagascar? Yes. We've stated beforehand, after this storm hits Madagascar and then enter the Mozambique channel, it will re-intensify slightly to around the high-end category 1 to lower-end category 2, and then strike Mozambique. Is that Mozambique? If I remember correctly.
Yes, Mozambique.
Yes, Mozambique.
Yes, Mozambique.
Speaking of which, let's take a look back at the cone. This is our cone, our very own cone, made by our contributor Kin Thank you for making the cone. We have been enacting an act that we will be using official data, including cones. So if I remember, this cone followed Matteo France's cone, so it was made as official as possible. So you can see right now intensity 105 miles per hour and 963 millibars, and it will sort of maintain this intensity while going west-southwest, and then stores a little bit of the Madagascar channel, intensify into a Category 3 cyclone, made landfall in around 4 days' time, with wind estimate of 125 miles per hour. After that, it will degrade substantially into a tropical depression, as per the Matteo France analysis. And Class 3 warnings in effect for the island of Mauritius as well. Some more questions. This question maybe is a little bit historic, on the historic side. Did cyclones hit the same path as Batsirai before? I have no idea because I haven't been tracking Southern Hemisphere systems for like.
Let me
times.
just check. You can continue showing the satellite imagery.
All right. Actually, if you take a look back at the satellite, this is a 12-hour loop. You can see that it's been developing an eye, as what this thing has been doing for like 3 days already. But this time, there might be some successful attempts, but the southern side of the eye is still lacking behind in terms of cloud tops. So maybe this thing will intensify again, or will this be another failed attempt? We shall see.
Okay, I'll answer the similar track one again. I'll say from what I've just searched roughly, the track probably will have a similar track, will be Leon Elaine 2000 without Leon.
Without Leon, what do you mean?
Without the Australian part, because Leon Elaine is a crossover storm, but Batsirai clearly isn't.
Oh, that's the answer. Leon Ellie, is it?
Likely Leon Elaine, but if you say you need the last time that it made landfall, well, we don't know yet. Yeah.
We're also joined by Alex now. Good evening to you, if I remember. What do you think of this storm?
Oh, I've just started to look at it again, but the development has been worrisome as of late, as the system has now an apparent appearing eye on developing eye, or I'm not so very sure what radar satellite imagery is showing at the moment, but it looks to be an eye forming. Definitely much more organized than when I came back, so I'll be here observing a bit and sharing news when ready.
So do you think that it will intensify as much as per what we've said around to Category 4 before striking Madagascar? What are your thoughts?
It's definitely a possibility, but let me see. Well, it will really depend now on how it will interact with its environment. If it sustains this structure, yeah, sure, it has a nice shot for it. But if it suffers from another drier intrusion, let's see. Yeah, there's a bit of quite a dry air mass to its south, so that might be an issue if it runs into it. So let's just hope the area of influence stays quite small, so it doesn't affect all too much land when it does. But yes, a cat forest equivalent is definitely possible.
Yes. What we've said for the past few 30 minutes or so. Some viewers have asked the question: will it change its trajectory based on its appearance of ice?
I'd say at the moment it's still influenced by steering currents, so it's not really going off with so-called beta drift, which is as a tropical cyclone intensifies, it wants to go forward. This doesn't seem to have much of that at the moment, but will definitely take effect soon. But as far as I'm seeing, this system might create its own environment if it does reach category 4 status just off the islands. Which, yeah. Let me get some more data. I have to log in your Met view for this. Let's see what I can find.
As per what we've said in the past few days or so, this storm still poses a major threat towards the islands of Mauritius and Reunion, even though there are no direct landfalls forecast for around a few days now already. But the storm surge, the waves, the rainfall, the rainfalls are much of a major concern as per a tropical cyclone. The winds are obviously a big factor of destruction of tropical cyclone, but the rainfall is also very plays a huge role in dealing with the damages caused by a tropical cyclone. So rainfall will trigger flooding, rip currents, storm surge, etc., etc. And these effects will cause much of a damage to the homes for many people, and there may be power outages as well in those islands. So, like we've been saying this for like a few days already, but if you're around the island, you should be preparing for this storm, and no matter where it is and where it is heading, like yeah, Alex.
I'd also want to stress that the islands to its south are also not safe, as those can have a dangerously high surf, potentially dangerous wind gusts every now and then, so people there should also be in alert. Definitely with the system becoming more organized, there might be some rain threat for those smaller islands as well. So if you live on one of those islands, keep a close eye on the weather. It might pose a threat.
More questions. Could a IRO replacement cycle be happening soon? He said that microwave showed an outer band. Ken, if you had any thoughts?
Right now we still are uncertain and we don't know if it's our replacement cycle there. In the XPath AMSR2, there's some kind of a significant outer band, but we don't know if it's a secondary IO yet, because it is an edge pass. It's not certain, and right now SSMIS the first pass missed, 16 missed. We don't know if 17 gonna hit, SSM S17 gonna hit. We are still waiting for it, so we don't have a certain answer yet.
All right. And taking a back look at satellite imagery. This is the infrared imagery, showing the cloud tops wraps around and forming a apparent eye, which has not been cleared for the past few days already. And if we just take a look at the shortwave infrared, there is not much to look at. Just the sort of an intensification phase when the cloud tops are wrapping around and to form an apparent eye. We'll be on air for like 5 minutes left. If you have any more questions, please send us through on YouTube chat. Type your message with Force 13 or in text, it will light up for us, and we'll be able to answer your questions if possible. Alex, what was your screen sharing about?
This is I'm trying to looking at I'm looking at the entire lifetime of the system thus far, just waiting for it to appear in this view at the moment and see what kind of development it showed. But here you can see it's still, and then there it gets disorganized because of dry air and shear. Zoom tries to reorganize, also successfully and rapidly redevelops, reorganizes, and strengthens into now what is an apparent line as well developing. But given the trend between this and this, that's definitely some potentially rapid, if not rapid, densification going on at the moment. If the eye clears, and if there's indeed no outer eye wall, it cannot confirm nor deny this. The pressure will likely drop quite fast. Systems winds will pick up if the eye contracts as well. But first has to clear it out, which will be quite a lot of work. Yeah, that's definitely going to cost quite a lot of work.
Indeed. Question: any guesses on when it will hit Africa? As per the latest GFS forecast, they're saying about 200 to 220 hours later in the forecast initializations. That's about 9 to 10 days time. So it's still far away. It's till it hits Africa. And our main feature now should be looking back at the islands of the Mauritius, Reunion, and specifically the Madagascar islands.
Systems.
I found what?
Yes.
I,
Yes. Xbox.
yes, so I found the radar on the Mauritius Meteorological Service website, and may not be the fastest, but it definitely does show a somewhat strong core. I know it is quite far away. It's 400 kilometers away, but still, you can definitely see how that It appears to be that there does not seem to be an IOL replacement cycle. I think Meteo France did mention somewhat of an IOL replacement cycle happening, but that does not seem to be the case. Or there could possibly one right here on this frame. Seems to be somewhat of a mode in here, but I cannot be too sure.
It's still a very high level. It's still representing a very high level elevation. So, but someone did mention it. And maybe it is a replacement, but latest microwave, unfortunately, it missed again.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I guess this is the information that we're currently relying on. Just by looking at it, it's be the possibility. I cannot confirm it 100%.
Let me take a close look at that radar image.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait and see if it is really ERC. We'll wait.
Yeah,
If then
I find it kind
MUT,
of a suspicious band there, but it just could be another curved bending signature like you see often in tropical cyclones before landfall, or when they near radar range.
So we're at the top of the hour now. Before we go off the air, let me just read the impacts on some of the islands in the latest bulletin. For the Mauritius and Reunion, a degradation should set up on Mauritius then Reunion from Tuesday evening, which should be, if that's the case, it should be done by now. If the heart of the cyclone should pass more north than of the islands, significant impacts on the periphery are to be feared. This bad weather can extend until Friday morning. The probabilities are now strong that the islands are concerned by winds of gale force up to 100 to 120 kilometers per hour on the coast, and being able to exceed 150 kilometers per hour on the inhabited hinges, highs in particular in Reunion. It is important to note that there is a 20 to 30% chance to have storm force winds, which is the worst case scenario with 130 to 150 kilometers per hour gusts, above 150 kilometers per hour possible on the highlands of Reunion in particular. The cumulative rainfall can locally exceed 100 millimeters in 24 hours on Mauritius and the coastal areas of Reunion. Much more important accumulations are expected on the relief of Reunion, around 600 millimeters in 24 hours accumulated possible. A very degraded sea state with waves of more than 5 meters in average height, and an abnormal rise of some tens of centimeters of the sea level that storm surge are expected on the exposed coasts. For Madagascar, cyclone expected to arrive at the end of the week on the east coast, potentially still at a very dangerous state. The probability of impact is increasing for the central eastern region. With a possible beginning of rain and wind impacts from Friday, the inhabitants of these regions are invited to follow the progression of this system. That's the end for today's stream. If you are around the islands of the Mauritius, Reunion, and specifically Madagascar, please be safe and please follow your local agencies or national or official agencies. If the government asks you to prepare for something or do something, please follow them. It may be life-threatening for this system. We'll be ending here. This is Force 13 Live.